One of the things you're going to have to learn in here is that sometimes you've got to close ranks with people you don't particularly like.
Like Spider?
Like Spider. Or sometimes she deserves a bashing, but if it's going to happen, one of us is going to do it, not some sadistic screw.
There's a certain officer that's going to bash me tonight.
There what?
I've been told, Mr. Adams, it's true, I promise you.
Come on, Simpson, there's only 2 officers rostered tonight.
I didn't mention any names.
I see. Well, don't worry, Simpson, I'll keep my eye on things and make sure that nothing happens. But if you're lying to me, you're going to have a lot of questions to answer in the morning.
You will keep your eye on me, won't you?
Don't worry, Simpson, I'll be there. Just get back to your cell.
Thanks, Mr. Adams.
Mr. Adams? It's time. Reception?
Security check, Miss Ferguson. Any worries?
Oh, no, only where the afternoon went. Had no idea it was that time.
Sounds like you've been kept busy.
Just catching up on some filing. Otherwise, the place is like a graveyard.
Yeah, well, it looks like a graveyard from out here. Call you again in an hour.
Right. What do you think you're doing?
Gone mad. So, gone by force.
Now, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. You're not too badly knocked up. Nothing a bit of a clean-up.
No, don't touch me. Nobody touches me till Renault see him.
Hey, wait a minute.
Now, I'm sure we can come to an agreeable arrangement here. If we keep this harmless little episode between the 3 of us, that'll be the end of it. Now, I couldn't be fairer than that, could I?
I bet you couldn't.
Oi, Simpson, are you okay or what?
What?
Not taking this lying down, Adam.
Listen to her, Simpson.
Stay
She's
out
trying
of
to
this.
be...
You bastards. You stick together like glue. Well, this time you're going down the tube together.
Get out of here.
What about what you just said? Oh!
What's wrong with you? You're bloody crazy.
He went too far, and he paid the penalty.
And you're going to leave it at that, right?
He'll pay for it. I'll see that he does.
You and that bastard are going for roast, so help me.
You are being very foolish, Simpson.
You're going to lay into me again. Might as well, because you're gone.
That's the way you want to play it. Let's go.
Go on, want to do it here. Hey, scream the place down, the freak's taking me off for another bashing.
Pick this up, Simpson. You're playing right into my hands.
My goodness, what on earth is going on?
Claims she was bashed by an officer.
Alice did it, and she put him up to it. Mr. Adams did this to him.
It's a bit hard to swallow, isn't it?
She put him up to it, I tell you. She even walloped him in front of me to make it look good.
Oh, now there's a new twist. You're gunning for us both now, Simpson.
I'm telling the truth.
Just take her to the sick bay. When you get her cleaned up and give me a detailed report on the incident.
The bitch has put one over you, I tell you.
I'll call the governor. The sooner we deal with this, the better.
Right. You lying bitch, it's a lion, you know it!
I've heard it all before, Simpson, from better liars than you.
We reckon I'd be making up to do this to you. You'll be given a chance to state your case. You bitches, you're all in it together.
Just come along quietly. I'll take you along to Sister Hall. Get up, you idiot. Just what were you trying to prove?
I don't know what happened. She just riled
And
me.
you're beginning to rile me. I've got a damn good mind to dish out some of the same to you.
You already did, in front of a prisoner.
Oh, yeah? And where are the bruises to prove it?
Look, what's going to happen? I don't want to lose my job.
We will just sit tight and let the investigation take its course.
What investigation? You're not going to let her dob me in.
I already have. I'm pushing for a departmental investigator to clear this matter tonight.
Whose side are you on? It was your idea. You forced me into
shut
it.
up, damn you. We have to make this look as though she was trying to frame us.
If you're double-crossing
I
me, I'll
don't
take
like
you...
that sort of talk, Adams, especially from you. Now, I said we will sweat this out, and we will, understand? So you just pull yourself together. We've got a lot to do to make sure we cover ourselves. Yeah, Helen, get me Mrs. Reynolds right now.
This is Rodney Adams. Mr. Harrow, the department's internal affairs investigator.
Mr. Adams, I've just been talking to a prisoner who swears black and blue, literally, that you attacked her.
That's a total fabrication. I mean, you wouldn't take her word against an officer's, would you?
Convince me why I shouldn't.
I was set up. I was on my normal rounds when I heard a call out, asking me to come into a cell. Mr. Pringle had said earlier on that she was distressed, so I went in. Well, after what Mullins did to herself, I didn't want to risk the same thing happening to Simpson.
And?
That's when I saw what happened to her face. And she started screaming out that I was attacking her.
Judging from the yelling and screaming of the others, she must have put in a good performance.
I can only assume that they were in on it too, to make it look more convincing.
Very convincing. According to Sister Hall, she was quite heavily knocked about.
Well, it certainly wasn't by me. She must have had an accomplice.
Can I see your hands?
Of course.
Nervous, Mr. Adams?
I've never had to go through an investigation before.
No obvious marks. Do you ever bring gloves into work, Mr. Adams, or keep a spare pair in your locker, perhaps?
No,
You suggest a reason for Simpson being so eager to cause trouble for you?
because I'm new, I suppose. Makes me fair game.
Miss Ferguson's not exactly new. Seems she has it in for her as well.
Who knows how the criminal mind works?
Hopefully the officers who look after them.
I don't know, and unless the shop poses a threat to the black market. Miss Ferguson and I are both involved, so I guess we're obvious targets.
Any more questions before we speak to Miss Ferguson?
No.
Mr. Harrow, I admit I should have been more alert, but that's all I'm guilty of. I never touched the woman, I swear it.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. That will be all.
I'll phone through for Miss Ferguson.
It's not adding up, is it?
Of course they'll believe me. Even that jerk Harrow saw me face, and no one gets marks like this without somebody putting them there.
Look, nothing's been proved either way, and until it is, I'd appreciate it if you'd just be quiet.
Yeah, go on, back 'em up. Wait till you know good butt they're going to be out of here so fast.
I'm warning you, Simpson, if you don't keep quiet, I'll put you on a charge of insolence. No, I mean that.
Who's that? That you, Simpson? What's the story?
Be quiet, you're all supposed to be asleep.
It's a bit hard. Your mates are getting knocked around by...
Now, just be quiet, the lot of you. Now, get inside.
Don't bother telling us what's going on. We only live here.
You'll be told what's happening in due course. Now, just be quiet.
Hey, you lot owe me.
I'm not bloody likely.
Ah, crawl under a log, darky.
What do you mean, owe you? How about they knock you round?
Enough to mark me face. The sort of markings that show on medical reports.
What are they doing about it? Yeah, where's that leave Adams?
What do you reckon? Come tonight, him and Ferguson are going to be out on their bums.
Why?
Hey, just remember, it took me to do it.
So as far as you're concerned, these allegations are a pack of lies.
That's correct. He was nowhere near the woman when I arrived.
When was that?
I went to investigate after I heard the first scream. There was no way he could have done so much damage before I got there. Obviously, she had herself bashed before lockup.
I thought part of the lockup procedure was to check for just this sort of thing.
As the Governor will tell you, we have imposed an early lockup situation. Makes the women even more difficult to handle, and of course, being short-staffed.
Somehow it always gets back to staffing levels. This claim by Simpson that you hit Adams to square things up, what do you make of that?
What anyone would, it's garbage.
I wouldn't have thought Simpson had much to gain by throwing that in on top of the other charges.
In my experience, the women will stop at nothing to frame an officer, especially a deputy governor. Simpson is a textbook case. She doesn't know when to stop.
All right, Miss Ferguson, you can go. I'd like to have a word with Mrs. Reynolds.
Of course.
Well, what do you make of it?
My gut feeling is that Simpson's telling the truth.
Same here. Still, gut feelings don't count for much where the department's concerned.
No, on paper, the facts are all on Adams' side.
Think he's capable of bashing a prisoner?
I wouldn't have thought so, but under Jones' influence, who knows?
It's an odd combination.
But not an impossible one.
Problem is, if we believe they bashed Simpson, what do we do about this claim that Ferguson assaulted him? That's a pretty wild accusation.
Yes, if Joan was behind the bashing, I don't think Simpson would have had a mark on her.
And then he asked to look at my hands. I was so scared. I mean, look at them.
Would have been a damn sight worse off if you hadn't protected him.
I should have accepted Smithton. I know it's only a country prison, but I wouldn't have got mixed up in all of this. I mean, what if they believe Simpson? I'll lose my job, I'll lose everything.
You're not losing anything. Oh, for God's sake, stop making a fool of yourself.
It was you who dragged me into this. I should never have listened to you. I've got to get away from now.
You're not going anywhere. If you're thinking of easing your conscience by confessing, don't.
I wasn't going to.
Good. Because if you do, I'll make sure that you see this job from the other side of the bars.
An inmate? But they kill ex-officers.
That's right. So from now on, you will do everything I tell you. When I tell you, and where I tell you.
Do you think you swayed them?
Can't see them proving anything beyond a reasonable doubt, can you?
I shouldn't have to remind anyone of the seriousness of this situation. Fact is, we won't tolerate officers assaulting prisoners under any circumstances whatsoever. Nor will we tolerate a prisoner faking a bashing in order to implicate an officer.
It wasn't fake.
The onus was on you to prove it. I find the evidence inconclusive and therefore insufficient to warrant any further
Hang
action.
about, I told you what happened. What do you think these are, makeup?
That's enough. You've heard the decision.
What I'm hearing is a bunch of screws whitewashing a fair compassion.
What's your language?
What are you going to do? Have another go?
As far as I'm concerned, there were inconsistencies in both accounts of tonight's incident.
What's going on? You don't believe them, and I'm the one you're calling a liar.
I'm not calling anyone a liar. But unless you can come up with a witness or some other evidence, my hands are tied. It's your word against theirs.
So, you going to back me or what? Anyone gets done over by the screws, we back 'em. I always knew the slime had it in him. It's just a case of the freak bringing it out.
How do we know that Joan's behind it? She stopped it. I mean, even Spider said that.
Come on, someone had to. He was out of control.
He should have got a pat on his back.
And your old looper should have knocked you in the head.
Oh, cut it out. Can I have your attention, please? Quiet, everyone. The Governor wants a word with you.
Yeah, and we want a word with her too. About Adams getting away with bashing a prisoner.
The matter has been dealt with by a department investigator.
Oh, terrific. That's
The charge was unsubstantiated due to lack of evidence.
Oh, so what's new? No one's all on your side.
Quiet, all of you. Quiet, quiet, quiet.
Stop banging the cops. The Governor wants to talk to you.
That's enough. Any more and all privileges, including the shop, will be suspended indefinitely.
That's better.
Getting the shop's not going to make us forget what happened.
That's not why we're starting it. And just for the record, the counterclaim that Simpson set up last night's bashing to frame an officer was not substantiated either. That's why she's here and not in solitary.
Oh, big of you.
As for the shop, you'll be assigned extra duties at muster. Any attempts to sabotage the project by the few who stand to lose by it will be severely dealt with.
You bitches. It's a bloody conspiracy!
Not her fault.
It's a system. It's rat bags become officers.
What are you looking so cocky about, Maxwell? I know you're in with Ferguson and Adams' shops just a front, hey?
God, you're pathetic. Look, we might be backing you about Adams, but we don't want anyone stuffing up the shop.
Oh, where's the backing? You're all talk, you lot. If it was me, I'd burn the dump down. That'd fix them.
No one's going to burn nothing down. That especially goes for you, Spider.
Yeah, well, I got plans of me own, haven't I?
Look, no Wayne plans nothing without the top dog says so. We don't make a move till I say. Got it?
They seem pretty restless.
What do you expect when one of their fellows has been bashed?
I don't understand how anyone could ask someone to bash them just to discredit an officer. One thing's for sure, Simpson won't try anything like that again in a hurry.
Perhaps you should take your own advice.
What do you mean? You think I bashed Simpson, don't you?
I mean, there are still a lot of unanswered questions about what happened last night.
You've still got it in for me, haven't you? Well, I'm not a novice anymore, Mrs. Reynolds. I know my job backwards.
Coming from you, that's what worries me. And a word of warning. If ever I find out Simpson's been telling the truth, I'll have you marched out of the service and into court faster than you can say Joan Ferguson.
West and Jenkins, shop detail. Simpson, garden duties. I think that covers everyone. Thank you, linesman. Thank you, ball boys. Work detail go with Mr. Jackson, the rest with me. Mullins, the governor wants to see you.
What about?
Just wait for me at the gate. Oh, Simpson, you'll be getting a new cellmate this afternoon. Just make sure the locker's empty, will you?
Who is it?
Well, you'll just have to wait and find out. Right. Any word from your mum, Mr. Jackson?
Got a postcard from her yesterday, as a matter of fact. Still sore after a camel ride up near Udmadatta.
Where's that?
Oh, I think it's in the middle of one of those deserts.
The Simpson.
Oh, geez, I could think of a better name for it.
Say anything about tripping over any West cousins outside the pub?
Oh, did you?
Look, Keith.
Oh, what are you going to do? Point the bone at me?
One more word out of you, Simpson, and you're in solitary. And you just calm down.
It's all right, Mr. Jackson. We'll cool her off.
Yeah, well, make sure you do. Now, let's try and get out there without any more mucking around, all right?
Yes, Mr. Jackson. You little idiot.
Is that all? Where's all his other stuff? His stereo and his camera equipment?
Apart from the camera itself, there wasn't any. Apparently he sold most of it to support himself while he was in hiding.
You'd never part with this. He loved this.
This note came with it. It's from Wendy Glover.
Oh, keep it.
She didn't want me to tell you.
I don't want it, okay?
If it hadn't been from her, Lester's things would have ended up in the police auction rooms. You could at least be grateful for that.
Maybe. Doesn't mean I have to read no stinking letter.
She's going out of her way to help you.
Got my boyfriend killed. You think a letter's gonna make up for that?
These things will be held in trust for you until you're released.
What about the camera? Can I keep it?
I'm afraid not. That'd be too tempting for the others. Sign this, please. It's a receipt.
When you see Glover, you can tell her thanks, but no thanks.
Do you want me to bring her back?
Got to thin this gunk down. Pass us over the Terps, will you, Westy?
Checking to see if I was drinking it, more likely.
I didn't say metho, did I?
Didn't have to.
Look, it's a wonder you can get around the signs of that chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I've heard it all before, Connors, and always from Whitey's.
Yeah, well, maybe because there's a bit of truth in it.
Why are you so aggro? We got to stick together, otherwise the screws will walk all over us.
So I keep telling her. The bottom line is, they're the screws and we're the prisoners, and we don't let them get away with nothing. Not even Belton Spider.
Spider's a moron.
A moron who's been bashed by a screw.
Look, we're on your side.
She's too full of hate to notice.
Well, I've got nothing against you two.
Then you've got nothing against the codes we live by. That includes backing anyone who's been beaten up by a screw.
You don't, you're on your own.
So take your pick.
Well, what are you going to do about Adams, then?
Well, like I said at Brecky, well, we wait till the time's right.
Yeah, waiting never got anything done.
You're a regular little spitfire, aren't you? Look where it's got you.
I get kicked, I kick back. What's wrong with that?
Nothing, if you're a bloody donkey.
You ever start mixing in some common sense with that temper of yours, you might even start sounding like a human being.
Can I give you a lift home?
I have a cab.
Well, mission accomplished.
Pardon?
Beating the frame up.
In case you'd forgotten, there was no frame-up.
Look, to be convincing, you got to believe your own story. You told me that last night yourself, remember? Where do we go from here?
I'll let you know in good time.
Look, I'd like to have a say in this partnership too, you know.
There is no partnership, Adams. You do what I tell you. And if you ever cause me as much trouble as you did last night, then prison won't be your career, boy. It'll be your home.
Hi there. Is there anything wrong?
Nothing.
What is it?
Has it got anything to do with the governor wanting to see you? That bloody Glover. She brought some of Lester's stuff back. You know, his camera and some other things.
It was very thoughtful of her, wasn't it?
You reckon I'd be too old to cry now, wouldn't you?
No, you're not. I cry all the time.
I just keep remembering little things about him. You know, the way he used to smile. When he was happy. God, I've upset you. I didn't even know him.
No, I know I didn't. I just keep thinking about my little one, that's all.
Oh, Laurie, I didn't mean for you to turn on the waterworks too.
Oh, no, I know you didn't.
Must be tough being cut off from your kid like that.
You see, I keep trying to do things to keep my mind off it, you know? Being happy, sewing, organising, doing things. But just every now and again, it just sort of all spills over.
If we had that camera, you know, we could kill some time with that.
Taking photos.
Yeah. Well, you could play pool with it, but I don't reckon it'd be as good. Oh, we're a pair, ain't we? I reckon we should stop thinking about that camera, you know. Been in the deep freeze for as long as I am. Seems like forever.
Found another helper for you. Go on, grab a brush and some paint and join in.
I'd like to invite you up here, Mel, but I don't think this plank holds the three of us. Hey, you got any more of this stuff, Mr. Jackson? I'm nearly out.
Yeah, me too.
I thought 3 tins would have done this place easily.
Well, not when you take the lumps out. Some of them are big enough to play footy with.
Okay, West. You and Jones head up to the workshop and get some more.
Sure. How about I tag along too, Mr. Jackson? Jonesy's dying to have a go, aren't you, Mel?
Yeah, can I, Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, it's all yours, Pablo.
You stay there, Connors. We need the tall timber for those top areas.
What? It's nothing that can't wait a few minutes.
I'm sure West and Jones can handle it. Go on, off you go.
You go first.
My pleasure.
Well, come on, Pablo. You missed a bit. Up there.
Look, I'm not going to chuck a bloody spear at ya.
Them bones I'm worried about.
What?
The ones you point at people, I heard some of the girls talking, and they reckon you can make someone drop dead right where they're standing. Only the really juicy ones. I just remembered something I forgot to tell Mr. Jackson.
Hey, Bob! What do you want, Simpson? I figure you need a manicure right up to your ankles. Just try it. Hey! Hey, watch out! The mower's coming straight from here! Nearly cut you down the side that time, Doc.
Watch what you're doing! You okay?
Yeah.
Hey, I hope you don't mind me grabbing you like that. I was only just trying to get you out of the way.
It's okay. Look, I appreciate what you did. Were you coming?
Yeah, never really believed that stuff about people dropping dead anyway.
I didn't think you were... My goodness, how stunning.
Gotta do something, take my mind off things.
But you're gorgeous. I mean, it's just what this place needs is a splash of colour.
Your drab's pretty in round here, eh?
Oh, no wonder Lester was so fond of photographing you.
Well, some of us got it and some of us ain't.
Oh, we still had that camera. Do you know the glossies would fall over themselves for a model like you? I mean, the face, the body, you're perfect, Lisa.
I was in mothballs, I remember.
I think I might just make a phone call to Uncle Tony. You see, he's got one of the largest pharmacies in Brookton. Well, maybe it's the only one, but I mean, who cares? And he'll be on supplies with all the film we need. Then there's Uncle Ben. You see, he works for a cosmetic company in Sydney. He said if I ever needed anything, he'd be happy to get it for me.
Laurie, we haven't got the camera.
No, you just leave that to me. Now, what I want you to do is to write to your parents, ask them to send you a list of all the major glossies, and tell them it's all hush-hush. We don't want anyone to get in here first.
A million models get photographed every day.
Ah, yes, but how many of them have you seen photographed behind a barbed wire fence with uniformed guards looming in the background? It's a scoop. It'll be a sensation.
Look, I'll get out of here before I'm sprung.
Now, 10%. How does that sound?
What for?
Commission? Well, you're going to need an agent, and seeing as I'm living here with you, I mean, I would say that I would fit the bill perfectly.
Whatever you say.
Good. God, what did I go back to that cell for?
You should see it. The shelves are all painted white and everything, except for the top ones. But I think that's what this thing's for.
Yes, well, I'll pop over and see it just whenever I can, okay?
Yeah.
How's everything with you, Sarah?
Fine. Why shouldn't it be?
Oh, I just wondered, that's all. I mean, well, I'd ask that question of anybody, no matter what...
No matter what colour they were, right?
Well, no. All I meant was that...
That I'm a poor little pickaninny who needs lots of sympathy because she wasn't born white.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant at all.
Yeah, pull the other one.
Geez, you look fantastic, just like them Sheilas in the ads.
You certainly took your time getting that hand cream. I hope it wasn't all spent on that.
It was me, Mrs. Pringle, not her.
Oh, Mrs. Pringle, I forgot the hand cream. Could I possibly just go back and
No, you can't. Lisa, I thought you were supposed to be on cleaning duties.
The floors were spotless. It was my idea for her to come up here. I mean, she needed company. Well, I could hardly leave her by herself in the dorm, could I?
Are you all right, Lisa?
I'm fine, thanks to Laurie.
What happened, Lise?
I brought some of Lister's stuff back, you know. Got upset again.
Actually, Mrs. Pringle, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes?
Do you think we could use the camera, under supervision, of course, to take some fashion shots of Lisa?
Well, whose idea was this?
Well, what does it matter? It'd be criminal to let beauty like that go to waste, wouldn't it?
Well, how do you feel about it?
Fine. Even got myself an agent.
And what about you, Sarah? I mean, you look great in that makeup yesterday. Are you interested?
Yeah. Outback Abbo pretends to be fashion model.
No, thanks. Come and Merle.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind finding out more about that model and stuff myself.
Now, what did I say?
Touchy, isn't she?
Yes, very.
Well, what do you think? Is she worth photographing or not?
Well, of course, she's very pretty, but I'd have to check it out with the governor first.
Ow!
Oh, Laurie.
Thank you, Mrs. Pringle. I knew you would.
Why'd you get so upset? She didn't mean nothing. Want a bet? Well, all she said was you...
You're looking for trouble mixing with her, Merle.
Jews that's causing the trouble.
What do you mean? Lucky he shouldn't have walked in front of the mower.
Shouldn't go calling her that.
Well, it's her fault for having such a good tan.
We'll see how tough you are one to one.
I'll spread you all down the corridor. I reckon I might anyway.
Don't you do that, you're scaring her.
That's the whole idea. If I was you, I'd go walkabout fast.
Oh, God, let her go. Back off, Junk, it's not your fight. Well, you shouldn't go waving it round like that because you might hurt her.
Come in. What is it?
I'd say a workaholic who needs a break.
Oh, I'm sorry. The department's sweating on these budget reports, not to mention the overtime sheets.
I'll let them sweat. I mean, you've been here half the night. What do they expect?
Far too much sometimes.
How about joining me for lunch? Do you good to have a break?
Not late already.
Getting there. I'd better tell you I have an ulterior motive. Had a call from the West. Sarah's foster parents. They asked to meet me over lunch. Thought it'd be a good idea if you came too.
Something wrong?
Didn't go into it over the phone. Tell you what, though.
If you don't drag yourself away from that desk of yours, you're going to end up using it as a pillow. Let's go.
Watch out for the sharks. The fashion industry's full of them.
Didn't know you did modelling?
I haven't. I've heard enough about it to know the pitfalls,
Where
though.
from, the telly?
Hastings, an ex of mine, used to own an advertising agency. And he wasn't accusing people of stealing his ideas. He was busy ripping theirs off.
You two would get a lot more done if there was a bit less chatter.
Oh, it's not chatter, Mrs. Pringle. We're discussing Lisa's career.
Hey, Mrs. P, is it okay if I put up a sign for the shop?
Oh, yes, I suppose so. What is it?
Amazing.
That is not at all funny, McPherson.
Well, look who's back.
What is it? Did you forget something?
Is it all right if I borrow Laurie for a minute? I need help with a trestle.
Yes, of course, but don't be too long.
See you later. Bye.
You've got a sick sense of humour, McPherson.
Well, the bitch went for me with a lump of wood. I thought you were still after me. I freaked out when I saw it was Merle. Is she badly hurt? I don't think so, but she's out cold. Are you all right, Merle?
Oh, what happened?
Oh, it was my fault. I thought you were McPherson.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I was tracking you.
Look, we'd better get it to Sister. Make up something on the way.
I'm all right, fair income.
Oh, I'm really sorry, Merle. But you should have said something before you came in.
I would have, but I couldn't think of anything to say.
Bitch took off like a scared rabbit. Would have gone after her, except Jones did a lolly.
Not typical. Lizzie gave her a fright. I reckon that's earned you a free smoke.
You got some grass?
Special delivery over the fence, Queensland Heads.
Well, how'd you know you'd be doing garden duty?
Because I keep my ear to the ground. I notice things. Like the fact that Ferguson and Adams are going to do some under-the-counter trading when the bloody shop opens.
Ah, Ren, I'll be watching them like a hawk.
I've been watching the freak for 4 bloody years and that bitch is still here.
Sprinkle's all for it. Probably because she's an amateur shutterbug herself.
Yeah. Hey, remember all those pics her and Merv took on their honeymoon?
Thought those two had been married for years.
Nah, you should have seen Merv courting her. Casanova, he ain't. Wonder how I'm going to get this stuff off my hands. Looks like I'm wearing sort of off-white gloves.
What's Wes wearing? Full set of leathers?
Look, haven't you done enough damage for one day?
Why don't you buzz off before you bore us all to death?
Hey, Vic, what do you call an abo with dandruff?
I don't know. What?
A Lamington.
That's not fair, making fun of her like that. We all know what's small, ugly, and got hairy legs, don't we?
Oh, aren't you clever, Bong? Black sense of humour, hey?
Oh, I'm getting real sick of you two. Who are we going to chuck out first, McPherson or Spider?
McPherson.
Oh, what are you doing?
What's it look like? I'm turfing you out.
Hey, we've got a right to be here, Jenkins.
Yeah. Not if I ban you, you don't.
After you.
Take it easy. It's just a bit of...
It's your turn next, sister. Fasten your seatbelt.
Oh,
give her a good send-off, girls!
Better get that bitch.
That won't do you any good. She'll just hire a gang and take you apart.
What are we going to do, Reed?
I don't know. We're going to have to think of something.
I didn't think you'd mind me asking Mrs. Reynolds along.
Oh, of course not.
How's she coping? I've heard that some of the prisoners take exception to coloured people.
I won't deny there have been problems. But some of the women have taken her under their wing, and I'm hoping that'll smooth things over, apart from what Pamela's doing, of course.
It's comforting to know you both care so much about her.
Well, might have helped if you tried to speak to her, too.
Well, to be perfectly honest, we thought it might aggravate the situation. You see, it was partly our fault that she got mixed up with those anarchists in the first place.
A last in a long line of mistakes.
We thought we'd make a success of it.
Yes, well, self-recrimination's never helped anyone. Sarah's out on a limb, and we have to try and help her.
We thought it would be a gesture on our part to try to trace her real parents.
I thought you were both dead against it.
Well, we were. At first.
We had some dreadful arguments about it. We honestly thought it wouldn't be in Sarah's best interests.
And that's when she tried on her own and got into trouble.
Afraid so. We have found out who her parents were.
And you think she ought to know?
That's why we wanted to see you. We just don't know whether to tell her or not.
What did you find out?
Her father was an itinerant jackaroo. White. Apparently, he's living hand to mouth somewhere. He's an alcoholic.
They don't think there's much chance of ever locating him.
Probably for the best. What about her mother?
She was living on an Aboriginal settlement south of Darwin. She died about 6 months ago.
We just don't know what's the best thing to do.
Despite the problems, we love her. We just don't want to do something that might push her further away from us.
Now, all I'm saying is that we're going to have to move quick, so Spider doesn't think we're just going to let it sit.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Oh, bloody hell, it's the second time today.
Oh, you got something on your mind, Reed?
No. You'd have thought we would have ended up as bloody social workers, though.
Here we are. I've got another one for you. They seem to have got buried now. Lexi's not around to read them.
It's hardly worth it. Look how old it is. Nothing but Boy George.
Well, he's very popular.
Not with the people I hang around with. We listen to the Oils, bands like that.
Oils?
Yeah, Midnight Oil.
How's it going?
Well. Boring. I think I'll give the mags a miss. See you at lunch. Never know, Simpson might have talked Mervyn into cooking up some witchetty grubs.
Thought we put a damper on her and Simpson.
Oh, is that another joke? Look, maybe we ought to give Simpson a bashing. You know, thump her till she gives up.
She'll never give up.
What if we take her head on? What if we try it another way?
What do you mean?
Enlighten the bitch. Give her a lesson in human relationships.
Bit short on blackboards, aren't we?
I wasn't thinking of that kind of lesson. More like the kind that really covers the subject top to bottom, if you get my drift.
They originally asked to adopt a hard-to-place child, thinking along the lines of disabled or handicapped, rather than racially different. When they were offered Sarah, they hedged. Thought she'd be better off with an Aboriginal family.
Does make sense.
Sure, except it's catch-22. Social welfare couldn't find an Aboriginal family that met their criteria. One of the problems is that they won't recognise an extended family as a support group. I mean, it was the Europeans who invented the concept of nuclear family, not us.
You think they should apply the same criteria to extended families?
Might have meant Sarah stayed with her own folks, her own culture. I hate to say it, but farming out black kids to white families usually causes more problems than it solves.
As we've just heard from the West.
It's inevitable. I mean, sure, they do their best. Give her a good home, more attention than most kids her own age get. But sooner or later, the penny drops. Suddenly she realises she's the only black kid in a school full of whites, needing a group she can identify with. I've seen it happen so many times before. Everyone starts out with the best intentions, but somewhere along the line, it falls in a heap.
Do you think it would have made any difference if her mother was still alive?
Possibly. Could have worked the other way too. A few of the kids end up rejecting their own families because they're poor and disadvantaged.
Classic no-win situation.
Absolutely. Still, we owe it to Sarah to tell her the truth. If nothing else, it fills in the gaps.
Yes, might stop her bucking at everything too.
That I wouldn't guarantee.
Hello, Mervyn.
If you're here for the solitary tray, it's over there. And getting cold, too.
No, look. I would like to talk to you about something.
I'm sorry, I haven't got time to chat.
No, it'll only take a minute. It's important. I'd just like to ask you something.
Well, all right, you'll have to be quick.
Well, you see, I've decided to be a manager. Well, an agent, really. I'm going to turn Lisa into the new Joan Collins now. What do you think of that so far?
I think you're determined to waste my time. If you're not here for the tray, go back to the others.
No, but hasn't Mrs. Pringle told you about it? I mean, she must have by now. I told her about it ages ago.
Well, she did say something about you wanting to use a camera.
And how did she sound? I mean, was she very enthusiastic about it?
Well, it's hard to say, really. She only mentioned it in passing.
Well, you see, Mervyn, look, I was thinking, you know I normally wouldn't ask you a favour, but this is really an exception.
If you think I'm going to risk my job getting that camera for you, you're mistaken. I've been taken advantage of too many times to be fooled again.
Oh, Mervyn, I wouldn't take advantage of you. I mean, all I wanted you to do is put in a good word for me. I mean, try and make Mrs. Pringle a bit more enthusiastic about it. I mean, her enthusiasm could rub off on the governor.
I really don't think I'm in the position to influence them, even if I wanted to. And quite frankly, I don't.
No, you're absolutely right. It's up to us to make our own way, isn't it?
Quite right, so if you don't mind, I'm all behind as it is.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm the new cellmate they promised you.
You're joking. I thought I was going to cop some new shield.
There's a couple of newies they wanted to keep in together. So either you in with me, or vice versa.
Hey, about time things started swinging our way.
Gee, you didn't clean it out too well, did you?
Hey, you don't
Don't throw nothing out, OK?
It's only a buck.
Yeah, well, you get enough of them and you got a cig, and a cig's a saleable item.
I never said they weren't.
Yeah, forget it. Hey, how about that special cig I promised you?
I wouldn't say no, that's for sure.
Make it a sort of celebration. You moving in.
Hey, I heard about you two shacking up together.
Hey, this is my turf, Connors. Rack off. You two.
Hey, where are you
What
taking her? What are you going?
Never you
You're
mind.
smart, you won't follow us. Oh, fair, go she's got beat up by Adam.
Who said anything about beating up?
Ow, you're hurting me.
Oh, shut up, hairy legs.
Get off. Place is really raging, eh? There you are. I wonder where you got to. Want a game of pool? Can't you gotta come with me? I don't gotta do anything. Didn't mean it like that. Me and the others want to show you something. Look, why don't you go and tell the others that I've had enough Sunday school to last me through to next century? Just gotta bring you, okay? Mel! I told you, Mel, I'm sick of people telling me what to think. No one's doing that. We're your mates. We want to show you something. Mates don't take on false marches, do they? What's going on? Got a little surprise for you. Oh, no, you bloody don't.
Cocks away, girls. Give her the full view.
My pleasure.
Ta-da!
She claims she's a distant cousin.
Bitches. Nah, have to flatten her nose first.
Yeah, what do you reckon? She belong with you, mate?
See, I told you we're your mates.
All quiet on the home front?
Apart from the excessive energy, I don't know what's got into them.
Probably excitement over the shop.
You want to see her?
Oh, the sooner the better.
Agreed. Could you bring Sarah West to my office, please, Martin?
Oh, well, maybe we should go to see her. The office represents confrontation. That we don't want.
Yes, we'll go straight through the dorms. If you wouldn't mind coming with us.
No worries. By the way, there are a few messages there for you.
They can wait.
Oh, give us a damn! They've got natural limbs, ain't ya? Go, you bitches! Oh, jeez, what's happening?
One girl's got another born-again black. Where's the cocoa?
I'm not going to waste it on her. Let me go, I haven't done nothing!
Oh, get in the corner and block.
Yeah, and if you try and help, you'll cop it.
Come on, I reckon we ought to get a couple of gags from Westy. Go on, kid, the floor's all yours.
Well, the bitch ain't worth it.
We're even in the score. Go for it.
You know, it's your chance to stick the boot in.
Go and give it to her.
Well, are you going to or not? What's so bloody funny?
What are you laughing at?
I'd like an answer to that myself.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too.